Hey, welcome to Live from Dennis's House. Today we're going to be doing a tribute to Chris Cornell, who passed away recently, and he was one of the greatest singers in rock and roll history. It's very sad, died at a very young age, but like we always do, we're going to celebrate his life. We're not going to cry. We're going to make some jokes. We're going to laugh, as Jimmy says, as if we're at an Irish wedding. No, Irish wake.
Irish funeral. Wow. You know, the Irish, we know how to do it. All right, let me tell you, the wedding, wake.
It's all the same.
Funeral.
They usually combine all three.
That's true. We do them all in one day.
Yeah, my grandmother got married,
Then your grandfather immediately died.
and a funeral all in one day.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, there's a lot of stuff going on. We're going to talk about his life. We're going to talk about his music, all his bands, his solo career, and everything that's going on in the world. A lot of exciting stuff going on in the world. So we're going to do a long-distance dedication to Adam West, and we'll be right back. Let's play Fell on Black Days by Soundgarden, and then we're going to do Nothing Compares to You, the Chris Cornell acoustic version of the great Prince Sinead O'Connor song, and we'll be right back. So as I mentioned, Adam West we did a long-distance dedication to, and you know why? Because he died as well. This is a very sad show. We're going to talk about everybody that died. Adam West, of course, played Batman, the original Batman, the Batman in my eyes. There's no other Batman.
The Batman.
No other Batman compares to you. That's why I played that song.
Oh.
So,
clever.
but wasn't that very clever? There was 20 movies.
I know, I forgot.
But, the one series. And, of course, this was, we didn't even watch it in prime time when it was on because we were too young. It started in 1966 and ran for 3 seasons to 1968. And it was just a whole nother take on Batman that was hysterical, that little kids love this, that we came to know this in reruns, that when we were little kids, we'd be rushing home from school because right around 4 o'clock, they showed this Batman and the Three Stooges and all this. But this show was so good. It was everything about the swinging 60s. And they had all these great celebrities on there, too, who were the villains. So everybody was trying to get on there. Vincent Price, you name it, they were on there. And it was just a great, great show.
I loved Catwoman.
Oh, yes.
Oh, Zsa Zsa
and now, they had 3 Catwomen.
3.
And the best, and the only one in my eyes, of course, is Julie Newmar. She was the best. They also had Eartha Kitt, who was a subpar Catwoman. And then there was somebody else, Lee Remick or something like that. Oh. But Julie Newmar is the quintessential Catwoman. So you heard it first. I don't know. Oh. But she was the best. She was like 6'6", and wore that cat suit well. Oh. And then there was Batgirl as well, too. Oh
yeah.
And then there was Robin, who
Boy Wonder.
The Boy Wonder.
Holy donut holes, Batman.
Did you see the size of Robin? Did you ever realize how slight and small he is?
He's
and
a very
he could
small.
never stop anybody.
He's a grown-ass man, too. He wasn't a boy in that.
Right.
He was poorly cast. He was a
Don't-
little...
Let's not go down that road, though. There's a lot of controversy surrounding their relationship,
Adam West and Robin?
No, on the show, there's this
People do that with
millionaire.
everybody.
I know,
Give
but
me
there's
a
this millionaire
break.
bachelor living with this young boy, and they run around in their underwear. Tights,
I never once questioned that. Until now. Now I'm concerned. Did I miss something?
Right.
We
It
were
was all good
children
fun, all clean fun. And actually, I was just reading a story recently of what a hound Adam West was, and Burt Ward, who played Robin, that apparently he was living up. They were both living it up ridiculously, that women were throwing themselves at them, that he talked about how he had 8 women at once at one time in the dressing room, that he'd be with one woman and the others are knocking on the window to get in, and it was just an endless stream of women for both of them.
Oh my God.
Damn right.
Well, then.
Yeah, they went in full force, they
He was
said.
a weapon. He was a force to be reckoned with.
Right, and that he was with a lot of celebrities too, Natalie Wood and Raquel Welch.
Oh, you just became friends with
Yes,
her,
that's
didn't
a whole
you?
nother story there. We got to talk about it. Normally I never talk about anything before it actually happens, but I'm actually friends on Facebook with Raquel Welch, the most beautiful woman of the last 2 centuries.
Other than Sophia Loren.
She's 76 years old and still looks beautiful. And I'm going to get her on the show, so be prepared for that.
Oh, well,
Raquel, I'm coming for you,
Nick-
bro.
You're
Nick,
not, are you
I'm
ready? I don't know.
demanding hair and makeup.
Hair and makeup's needed for that
Raquel
day.
Yeah. So the show went off the air, and he had a rough time afterwards. I got to say, he turned to booze, and he couldn't get any acting gigs because he was typecast as Batman. You know. And then you know what happened after Sean Connery stopped being James Bond? They came to him, Adam West, and asked him to be James Bond. And he said, no, James Bond should have a British accent. So he turned the role down, and then they gave it to Roger Moore. And that's ridiculous. That would have been the best role for him. But he turned it down, and he didn't have anything after that. He
did Family Guy.
Right, exactly. But I heard before Family Guy, he was attending like doing personal appearances to get money, and he really hit rock bottom. He said one time when he was dressed up as Batman and they shot him out of a cannon at a fair in Indiana, and he said, "What am I doing?"
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yes. Oh, and another bottom that he hit was he was supposed to meet the Pope.
That a new term?
He was supposed to meet the Pope, right? But he was so hungover that he could barely get to there, and he was like crawling on the line to meet the Pope, and like everybody was supposed to kneel, but when he got to the Pope, he couldn't kneel because he knew he couldn't get back up and he might throw up. So he just like bowed, and the Pope recognized him and said, "Oh, Batman!" How you doing? So I don't know how true that story is, but it seems good. So anyway. Yes, that he actually, I got to go back to his beginning of his career. How he got his start is very funny. He was on a children's show called El Kini Popo Show, which featured a chimp as the star. And then West later took over as the star of the show. So I want to know what happened there.
What?
If
he replaced the chimp?
If Adam West, backstabbed the chimp to get his job and become star of the show. I need to know what happened. Nick, look that up. The El Kini Popo Show.
Doggy Dog World.
El Kini.
Yes. So anyway. As Jim mentioned, he later went on to fame on the Family Guy show.
Family Guy saved many a career.
Right. I was talking to my daughter about Adam West dying, and she goes, "You mean Adam West from Family Guy?" And I was like, "No, Adam West from Batman." So tell us, what did he play on Family Guy?
Oh man!
I thought you were an expert on this.
He's been on Family Guy.
He played like the mayor or something, though, right?
Yeah, and he plays himself.
Mayor Adam West.
Mayor Adam West. He was on the show from like the beginning.
That's great.
Like he's been.
Wow.
I can't remember a season when Adam West wasn't on the show.
Wow. I guess I never watched Family Guy.
So
that's a little football head kid?
No, that's Hey Arnold.
Well, no, Stewie has a football head.
Oh,
too,
yeah,
doesn't he?
Stewie does.
Right.
Stewie does. No, you're right.
Oh, my God.
No, you're on it. You're on point.
Okay.
Different generation, though. Football head is...
No, but we know that show because my son used to watch it. So
Family Guy is hysterical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was born in Walla Walla, Washington. Isn't that a cool name for a town?
Walla Walla?
Yes, and he was 88 years old.
Ohio.
Yeah,
so it's very good. And you know, someone else passed away. Anita Pallenberg passed away.
Oh, yes.
And Madhouse Magazine broke this story in the United States.
Who is
Nobody else reported this, but I heard it through the grapevine, and I waited to confirm it.
Right?
I read it somewhere in Italian news, and I broke the story. Anita Pallenberg was the girlfriend of the Rolling Stones. You think just one of them? No.
No. She made the rounds.
She started out.
Ronnie, who'd she date first?
No, she was a model. And she started dating Brian Jones. They met in Germany. She started dating Brian Jones. And then they used to do a lot of LSD together. And then one time he got rough with her and started hitting her. And Keith grabbed her and went back to France or whatever. And she moved in, and they stayed together for like 20 years and had 3 children together. But also... she made a movie with Mick Jagger, and they had an affair during that. So she was with 3 Rolling Stones. I think that's the record.
Whoa.
Wow.
Yes, look that up.
So she never made it with Ronnie, huh?
Yeah, no, it was way before Ronnie.
Charlie
so
Watts,
yes, and so she had 3 of his children. They were never married, but they were together through the 80s, and they went through all the hardships. She was known as the girl that out-Keithed Keith because she was right next to him doing drugs, just as many drugs as he did, but in the long run, no one can out-Keith Keith.
No.
So, she died in this at her, what was she, 73. She died in Italy. And, there you go. Another person down.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome back live from Dennis's house. And that was our station break. And now we're going to start talking about Chris Cornell, the lead singer of Sal Gond, who passed away Wow, I almost choked myself to death there. The lead singer of
no pun intended, I
Soundgarden.
hope.
Yes. So he passed away recently. He's very sad. He was only 53, I believe.
Yeah. 53
Just
years old.
a year older than me. Very sad. So, all right. So let's go back to when Soundgarden was formed. 1984, they were formed, way before grunge even started. But they, of course, they were part of the Seattle grunge scene. Which can you name another band, Cha-Cha, that came out of the Seattle grunge scene?
Nirvana.
Yes, Nikki. Can you name one? Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
Very good, Nikki. Actually, it was not their first album, but the first one that made it was Bad Motorfinger in 1991.
Before you say that they're grunge, I'm saying their first album, Soundgarden's first album, was straight metal.
Yeah.
That was straight metal. There was nothing grunge about it.
That's why no one's including that in
their
list.
They were very... I think they kind of jumped on the grunge bandwagon.
Yeah, because they're from Seattle.
They're from Seattle, but they were very metal, man.
Yeah, and they still kind of were.
They're still heavy.
That's kind of what grunge was. It was
Yeah.
mixing metal, punk,
Sure.
and coming out with a different kind of hard rock. And I believe that was the last great scene. The last great music scene.
It was.
Unless you're, I guess.
Yeah.
Emo. You want to consider?
Well,
it wasn't great.
And that was before
something.
it, though, kind of. That was The Cure and stuff.
The
that
Cure,
was,
you're right.
Kind of the 80s,
Right.
yeah.
And there's a rebirth of
New
that.
wave, you mean?
Yeah, new wave.
No, but the emo was like the dark stuff, like Bauhaus, The Cure, that kind of stuff. But anyway, so grunge and Soundgarden, they came out with Bad Motorfinger, 1991. Great album. I don't even remember which songs are off what album. Do you know that? But they had huge hits. 1991, Bad Motorfinger. The next one, though, was Super Unknown, 1994, which was their breakthrough. Yes. There's always that one album. You notice that every show, there's that one album that shoots them into the stratosphere.
Put them over the edge.
Right. So that
Black
was Super
Sun.
Unknown. Yes.
Yeah.
And they had all these great songs. Black Hole Sun, Fell on Black Days, Jesus Christ Pose, Spoon Man. Keep naming them, Jim.
Oh my God! It's like there's like 5 number 1 hits on that album.
Yes. It was a great album. And then the next one, Down on the Upside, 1996. And then, of course, here we are once again on the downward slide. 1998, they broke up. And it was kind of the end of music, I believe. 1998, for me, signaled the demise of music as we know it. That was I said, that was the last great scene was grunge. And then everything went downhill, and the music just turned back to black and white. It's like the opposite. Like the world was black and white until I was born in 1964, and then everything turned to color, and then it went back to black and white in 1998. I don't know.
98. That was
because right after that,
digital revolution hit.
I think all of this. Changed. We got to do a whole show just on the demise of music and what happened, why it happened.
I have to be on that.
And we got to talk about the government conspiracy because that's obviously.
Well, you can tie it in, sure.
that it's the government. I'm telling you, the government are killing all our rock stars, and they're slowly getting rid of music, and there's nothing left for rebellion because they want to control us.
Music.
Yes,
it's getting to that point.
You know what?
You believe in that?
No, I don't.
We presented a good argument.
Because that would have happened when Elvis came.
No, they didn't realize. They tried to.
100 years.
Of course, this is a lot.
It's a process.
It's a lot of work. Yeah. And
a lot of work.
Of course, and they didn't.
Wars, And
because the Elvis came and went so quick, they didn't even have a chance. It was like a couple years, but by 1960, it was all over.
And then the Beatles came.
Exactly, and that's what they started.
And the Rolling Stones.
And that's where they went into the thing.
And that's when they went against John Lennon.
You can't stop it just that easy. It got too big, so it's been taking them years and years and years.
Cut it down.
Nixon declared a war on drugs just so he could get us.
Yeah.
What do you mean us?
I can't blame.
Well, actually, this is what I heard. We are so off the track here. But what I heard was Nixon declared the war on drugs because he wanted to get the hippies and the blacks, as he called them. Ooh. He said, we can't have a war on hippies and blacks, but if we call it the war on drugs, we can arrest them all, round them all up, and put them away.
You're going
see?
far.
Wow.
No, I read that.
Exactly. Yeah.
No,
I'm not making that up.
That's a true statement.
That's a true statement.
Yep.
You will never be surprised at what your government will do.
Absolutely. That's why it's us against them. I
Exactly.
don't know where
That's
it
right.
became us against
Us.
Us
That's
against
exactly.
us.
That's it.
Ridiculous.
It used to be us against them. Now it's us against us, and we are them, and they are us.
Yes.
Oh, wasn't that brilliant? Feel free
Brilliant.
to
Isn't that a
feel
Prince
free to
song?
coin that.
To quote you on that one.
Yeah.
I know.
Somebody write
We
that
get
down.
shirts or
Yeah,
something.
write that down.
All right, so we're completely off track again. So let's get back to the show here. And we are talking about Chris Cornell, of course, and we're down to the part where they broke up in 1998. Of course, because of drugs, as per usual. Drugs ruin everything. Yep. And people just can't get along. You know, it's like winning the lottery to be in a successful band. It's maybe less of a chance to be in a successful band of this magnitude than winning the lottery. And these 4 guys can't keep it together to keep this process going.
Their egos.
Yeah, it's just
Chris Cornell had a massive ego.
Yeah.
Let's should put that out there.
So anyway, they broke up in 98. And before this, of course, you mentioned Temple of the Dog.
Yeah.
That was when they mixed up with the guys from Pearl Jam, and they produced that great album, Say Hello to Heaven, and Hunger Strike.
Hunger Strike, yeah.
Yeah. So it was a great, great album. And then after Soundgarden, of course, he was in Audioslave with the guys from, you mentioned Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah.
So that was another great band. He's got the Midas touch, I have to say.
He
whatever.
was so musically talented that anything he did was going to be a success. It didn't matter. He must have written. He had to have a discography of easily 300 songs.
Wow.
I mean, he had 3 or 4 albums with Audioslave, 6 albums with Soundgarden.
Wow.
An album with Temple of the Dog. He had 2 or 3 solo albums.
Right.
So he had more in the works.
Right. And I loved his latest stuff that he was doing with his solo acoustic stuff.
Man,
you know,
that was
I
great.
wish that I went to see it now. I always put it off because he was around so much, and I was like, I'm not going to see him. Maybe next time. And I just keep putting things off, and you should never put things off.
I had a pleasure of seeing him with Soundgarden. He opened up for 9 Inch Nails. That was maybe like 3 years ago, and they just got back together and they did the Avengers soundtrack.
Okay.
And let me tell you something. His voice, peeling paint off walls, that guy, he'd move you.
Yeah, I have to say, and a lot of people say this, the best voice in rock and roll.
Yeah.
That I would have to say between him and Lane Staley of Alice in Chains, they were the 2 best.
Just thinking
And they're both gone now.
Gosh.
I was thinking about this today. Did you ever notice anyone that sucks never dies? You never hear about, someone sucks very bad, passed away today at the age of 22. No, you never hear anybody say that. You hear, this person who sucks is celebrating their 101st birthday today. Let's have a shout out to
strong,
them.
still sucking.
Has been sucking for over 100 years straight.
No signs of slowing down.
I hope to suck even more in my by my next birthday. Right.
You never see.
I'm not wishing anybody dead. I'm just saying.
You lose all the good ones.
I'm making a point.
Scott
here.
Weiland.
Right.
Kurt Cobain.
What
And that-
band was he from? What was the name?
STP, Stone Temple Pilots.
you.
That now
Thank
that
you.
they are converging, the government in their conspiracy has now converged on to the grunge scene.
Yeah.
And they have to slowly get rid of everyone.
That's what they're doing.
They killed Kurt Cobain, and now they're going after all the singers. They got Lane Staley. Now they got Chris Cornell.
Here's my problem with your theory. It
What?
only makes them more popular when they die.
They become martyrs.
But still,
Yes.
they're no longer the voice, the power of the
They
people
haven't
to
really-
organize the people.
Well,
that
Jimi
does
Hendrix
sound like
once
it
said
should.
music could organize,
Of course.
Everybody get behind
True.
music.
That
Look at
if-
Woodstock.
Like a politician can sit there and talk to you for 6 hours straight. You won't listen to one word he says.
True.
You put on a 3-minute song by one of these guys, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
This is earth shattering. So between music and comedy, that's the
Really
only
true.
thing that people listen to. Nobody listens to anyone talking at
Yeah,
them.
otherwise it's womp womp womp.
Exactly.
womp, kid.
Really got into Chris Cornell for Audioslave.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I was in 7th grade when Audioslave dropped their first album. And I remember all my friends, we kind of were sitting at the lunchroom table, and we were all like, holy shit, Rage Against the Machine got Chris Cornell to lead their band.
Yeah.
And we were all losing our minds,
Yeah, because I was a huge fan of Rage Against the Machine.
Oh, yeah. I
them.
loved Rage Against the Machine. And then through Audio Slave is how I kind of found more in sound. Black Hole Sun was always on the radio, but then I kind of saturated myself with everything that he did.
See, I just noticed too that I don't know the name of the band, the Soundgarden. I know Kim Thale is the guitar player. He was a good guitar player. I don't know the bass player and the drummer's name.
Me neither.
So there you go.
Oh, wow.
Not to say that they're not worthy of us
they're
knowing
good,
their name.
but,
We're just
for some
missing
reason
that.
they didn't. But now I would like to talk about the death of how he passed away. It's very unclear. There's something about drug abuse. It's depression. It's suicide. You know the story? Well, it happened. Give the facts of what we know.
So there was a phone call to the Chicago police.
Start before that.
Well, he did a show in Chicago.
It was Detroit.
Right.
Oh, Detroit. I'm so sorry.
I was wondering why they called the Chicago police. It happened in Detroit.
Detroit. He had a show in Detroit, and he went back to his hotel room. And
now, was there anything odd on stage?
I watched the show.
And
I didn't think there was anything
okay, because
odd.
some people said he was slurring or something, but I didn't.
No, I didn't.
Either.
I watched the last couple of songs he did, and I didn't notice anything out of the ordinary.
All right,
he seemed to be just doing his gig. Went back to his hotel room. Maids tried to get in the room. Mm-hmm. They obviously got in the room because they're the maids. They have the key. And then they had to call the Detroit PD when they obviously went in the room and they saw that the Chris Cornell was hanging there.
Oh, okay.
And then they pronounced it a suicide.
Right. Now the wife is arguing this.
The wife is arguing, but I don't know what she's arguing for. I don't know if she wants to call it a suicide or if she's trying to get it as a sexual.
No, I don't even think it was that. I think it was the drugs that he was on caused him to do this because they said because of his depression that this drug he was on, Ativan, that he took one or too many of them that night because she said she spoke to him on the phone and he was slurring, and that's when she got the security to go after him to get in there.
Ativan is it's anti-anxiety medication, so if you take too much of it, it's considered a downer. So
right. And they say one of the side effects is you want to kill yourself.
It's just amazing how they all hang themselves. Like I noticed that there's always when there's that drug and they have this chemical whatever, it's always they
Right. I guess it's an easy
themselves.
way to do it,
Really,
what else are you going to do?
I don't think it is.
No,
I think
really
it's
not,
probably
but
one of the most horrific.
But I mean, he doesn't have access to a gun or anything,
Yes.
so
It takes 1 to 2 minutes to actually die.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It's got to
yeah,
be
so
horrific.
It's like torture.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but
there's
this
something to
this
that.
depression thing
Something
is
to
terrible
that.
because,
Right.
that unless you have it, I guess you can't understand it because he had everything in the world to live for.
Right.
That he had a wife, he had
Children.
a bunch of little kids, and he had a great sound, a
He's
great
sober?
career.
He was sober?
He was sober. He was reforming Soundgarden, get back in.
He was playing with Soundgarden.
Right. He was all excited with them, and he had his whole career, and he was excited about the music, and there was no signs of this.
Was talks of getting back together with Audio Slave?
Right. So there was no
Demons get you.
There's no reason for this. So it's the same thing with Robin Williams. You have no
Right.
idea why
No
these people
idea.
do it.
No.
But depression
What
has
goes on
got to
through
be
their minds.
it's
Yeah.
got to be a killer.
Right.
So yeah.
I got I was driving home the day that I found out that he had passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And Sirius XM, or was it the day after? Sirius XM was doing like a whole thing about they kept playing
He
his.
cried.
Well, yeah.
I was in the car with him.
You sure it wasn't something in your eye?
There was something my doors were off, my top was down on the Jeep, and there's a lot of wind. Well, he was talking about his song "Nearly Forgot My Broken Heart," and he wrote that song to be like sarcastic. He was going on to say about like it's how you could be with somebody and you could have so much fun with them that they could make you forget how depressing life is.
Right.
So he's talking about that, and he's like, it was kind of a play on words, and people could interpret it the way they want. And I was driving over, and then they played it, and I was going over the bridge leaving Jersey City, and just as I was going over the bridge, the radio station put up an electric billboard, and it just popped up, just flipped into the Chris Cornell, And it was like, Chris, thank you so much for years of music and rock on. We love you. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so like he suffered so much with his chemical imbalance and drugs and.
It's a real thing.
And like you said, all his songs were really like that.
They're
all his
very
songs
depressing.
were very dark and depressing, but they were great.
Johnny Cash did
Rusty Cage.
Rusty Cage.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, it's great stuff. So he'll definitely be missed. He went way too young, very sad. So before we wrap the show up, though, of course, we always have to do a news story to shed a little light. Let's lighten it up here. I think everybody will enjoy this one. This is new. That Bruce Springsteen reveals he once killed a drifter. Bruce Springsteen is opening up about the murder he once committed. During a candid talk with Tom Hanks during the Tribeca Film Festival on Friday, the 67-year-old singer opened up about the time he bludgeoned a drifter to death in New Jersey. First of all, everyone in New Jersey kills someone. We all do it eventually, the New Jersey native said, adding that the entire state has killed at least one person in their lifetime. The murder took place back in the early 1970s, Springsteen recalled. I was walking along the train tracks in Asbury Park, New Jersey on July 4th and came across a drifter. He was a hobo, complete with all his belongings in a handkerchief on a stick, a real boxcar Willie. I had always wanted to kill someone and felt this was a perfect opportunity. I picked up a stick and beat him about the head and shoulders, then threw his body down an embankment. It felt great. I went home and wrote the song Sandy about the event. I later read that they charged another drifter with the murder. Springsteen laughed as he commented, I ended up with a great song, and some other schlemiel is still in jail for the crime.
You know what? Is it true that Bruce Springsteen called up Greg Allman after that? After he told Tom Hanks that?
There you have it. All the news not fit for print. Madhouse Magazine. So now we are wrapping up another show, so be sure to check us out. 474 The Mix, Madhouse Magazine, live from Dennis's house. Oh, we're going to play some songs as we're going out. And thank you, Chris Cornell, for all the music. Great life, great music. So we're going to play Burden in My Hand from Soundgarden and Say Hello to Heaven from Temple of the Dog, and then the Artist of the Month. See you next time on Live from Dennis's house. Let's hear it for Chris Cornell and all of us.